Kendrick Lamar kind of dropped a bomb on more so our community. I don't know if it hit like in the regular world, but
in the regular world, it was like,
this all right.
They're like, what is this?
I think people was trying to still say that he still diss Drake, but at the same time, it was like he coming at it, the industry, because he dropped it right at the same time as the VMAs started.
Yeah.
So it's like he's going at the industry.
So, but he mentioned Lecrae and D1, so that kind of puts him in our world. So let's see, who's this young man?
His name is Jeremy H. I forgot his last name, but he works with Elliot Wilson and DJ Head, who is Kendrick's guy.
Yeah.
They have a show, but he was talking. He does stuff with Hip Hop DX.
Okay. All right. Let's see what he did. He basically did a dissect.
He's actually praying to God. He's praying to have his words be potent and his thoughts be clear, but also praying for forgiveness for what he just did. He doesn't necessarily feel like he's living to his moral standard by going into the mud with the battle. Some of the things that he was saying about Drake, the accusations, this isn't something that maybe Kendrick felt completely comfortable. Now, he said the result sometimes needs violence, but on the third verse here, when he questions what would Lecrae do, what would D1 do, Lecrae is a Christian rapper who he did comment on this battle recently, saying that Drake would never be able to win because Kendrick is so of the culture, whereas Drake is merely a spectator of it. But also, when I spoke to Lecrae on the Grammy red carpet, I asked him about Kendrick, and he said he's somewhat of a spiritual mentor to him. So I'm sure Kendrick has these conversations with Lecrae. And D1, who's a Christian rapper, has been a heavy advocate for no beef at all, and said that this battle really isn't doing anything for the culture. Now, this part, Kendrick critiques the media. The radio personality pushing propaganda for salary. Let me know when they turn up as a casualty. I want agony. Assault and battery. I see a new earth. Now, he could be talking about a lot of people. There are definitely streamers, podcasters, and media personalities who, no matter what's happening, will maintain the same stance. And I think Kendrick is calling out the integrity in the space. But what's more interesting to me than that is the next bar. He references, after we cleanse things, kind of like Noah's Ark flooding, there's going to be a new earth. I see a new earth filled with beautiful people making humanity work. Now, a new earth is a biblical reference, but it also is referenced to an Eckhart Tolle book called A New Earth, which is a book about awakening to your life's purpose. Now, we know the role that Eckhart Tolle played on Kendrick's Mr. Morale album, but I think this is Kendrick coming to terms with what he feels his purpose is on this planet. I think spiritually and musically, Kendrick is headed in a direction where he's going to be referencing God a lot more in his music. He's always had biblical references and referenced religion and faith, but I think this was really his heart part 6. Drake might have stolen the title, but this is what Kendrick does before he drops a project. He'll let you know his state of where he's at mentally and where he's hoping to go and what the music that you'll hear is about to be. And I truly believe that Kendrick is headed in a direction maybe even closer to...
You said even more like Lecrae.
Yeah, I was like...
It's like, interesting. So he said a lot there. So Kendrick put out a song where he said a lot of stuff about the industry, like Jeremiah said. And then at the end, he said, what would Lecrae do? I want to be more like D1. And then it's like, it actually blanks out.
Yeah.
I don't know what he said in that section.
I think he was just pausing for effect.
No,
they
removed lyrics like back in the day with Biggie in the World Trade Center. Like they cut out lyrics.
I don't care if you're pregnant. And
when somebody when unedited song is edited, he says something crazy.
Yeah,
so it raised the alarm of everybody in the CHH world, Christian hip hop world, because he mentioned Lecrae and D1, who I think we already knew that he knew these people, but for him to say Christian rappers by name on a song was like, oh snap, they know who we are. You know what I mean? Because sometimes it feels like our world, this Christian hip hop world, is kind of hidden from mainstream hip hop, but it's starting to not be. What did you think of hearing Kendrick mention Lecrae and D1?
I thought it was a big shout out to give recognition to the art that they do, right? I thought it was interesting when he mentioned Lecrae and D1 back to back like that because of the issue that they had earlier.
I don't know if he knows that.
Well, I know, but I'm saying I just thought, in my mind, I said, ooh, I wonder if this gets a conversation going about not having combative conversations on social media, against the other, right? It was like, I wonder what Lecrae would do. So to me, I was like, that's interesting that he kind of almost called that out that we all have been kind of like struggling with in our own community.
I don't think he knows anything about
He
that.
doesn't have to, but I'm just saying, in my mind, that's what came to mind when I was just like, oh snap! Like both names said together when they were going back and forth on social media, and the irony of what this person would do is almost kind of like, let me check that scenario, right? What should I have done in this situation if I'm Lecrae? That's all I'm saying. If I'm D1, just in my opinion, that's what I got. But anyway, I thought it was cool. It's always interesting when you think that somebody is from another, I guess level of music or a level of situation, kind of looks at you and says something about it. Like I think we kind of felt, there could have been a rub against line for line when Eminem did his song and he said, I'm tired of all these video vlogs comparing me and all this kind of stuff. So it's interesting to think that they are kind of in the space of listening and knowing what's going on when we think they have no idea.
I mean, they're human beings. And
they are, but
you got family. I remember when Dizzle said years ago, he's like, yo, man, my people seen, they saw Line for Line, they saw Rick Ross and all that stuff. So, yeah, I mean, you never know. I mean, you can easily find stuff from people. And stuff like
you'd
that.
be so. I think what Ryan is getting at is that we would have never imagined anybody would have known anything about what we do here.
Yeah.
But we hear things here and there where, like you said, it's not the main person who found it. It's like their cousin or their homeboy will send the video to them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So there are people in the industry who've heard about what we do here, but they don't talk about it. Yeah. This is the first time, well, not the first time, but this is one of the main times where Christian hip hop was being public by the biggest artists at the time, publicly discussed. That's interesting.
The other thing I thought about when I heard it was I bet Joe Budden's face was like dropping when he heard it. Like, oh, this guy.
Nah, I actually got to deal with D1. Got to actually have him up on your show, like I've been saying.
But, respond, bro.
But I think this is an interesting time frame because I feel like, okay, so what is? Because the mainstream world, just to be honest, is still on the foolishness.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's still on the foolishness. So if he goes in this direction, I think a few people may go with him, but not everybody, to be real. Like, and I'm not saying...
You think Kendrick is going in the Christian hip-hop?
No, I'm not saying... I don't think he's going to Christian hip-hop. He may go spiritual. I do believe that they're going to use Kendrick to open up a new era of hip-hop. You know what I mean? A new age of hip-hop. And what I mean by that, meaning like more artists,
literally,
like more artists like him, more artists that have that spiritual depth of not consciousness, but more like let's do better. We got to do better. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like D1 almost. You know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that.
More spiritual things.
Yeah, synchronism. You know what I'm saying? So, but I do think that trying to figure that out with him though, because I feel like if they're pushing him to be that, I think we're just so far gone, bro. Like I think it's so ratchet right now in the hip hop culture that I think it's not like
it's not gonna work. It's not gonna change anybody's heart.
Who is they?
The industry. I think that the industry, inside the industry, some people could be like I came up with a conclusion. This is just a Conspiracy J exclusive. I think the Carters sent him to do that to Drake.
You think the Carters sent Kendrick to eliminate Drake?
Yep.
Oh, wow. That's definitely conspiracy.
That's a conspiracy. Yeah. There's a link I saw where this gentleman broke down the difference between Jay-Z. It's a big camera right there.
What you mean by that, bro?
It's a very bigger camera than yours.
She needs to be on our social media.
But what I'm saying is it's a I'm gonna find it and I'll put it in our chat. But basically, it's how Jay-Z and it's like I said, this is a conspiracy. Jay-Z and Drake back and forth over the years, and how like Drake, like it came out recently. Elliot Wilson said that Drake was supposed to do the Super Bowl and he turned it down twice, and that's under Jay-Z's watch. And then also another thing was he helped on the Renaissance album. But then right before Renaissance dropped, he dropped that album where it was like a kind of a not dance hall. It was kind of like a EDM, house music, kind of like, and they kind of wasn't feeling that because he kind of like sidetracked them. And it was said at the time with the beef with Meek Mill that it was supposed to be Meek Mill, but it didn't turn out well. And then it was supposed to be Cole, but Cole was like, "This my guy," you know what I'm saying? So that's just the rumors and like that. But It could be. It could be true. I don't know. But all I'm saying is this. At the end of the day, I just think we're so far gone that certain people will ride with Kendrick and in this new direction if it's like, because we're seeing, this has been and honestly, I think we always talk about Lecrae's anomaly time being the best time for Christian hip hop. But to me, right now, it feels like more Christian hip hoppers are getting opportunities like never before.
Well, I'm just a little concerned because I don't want anybody to get so excited about this because who cares?
I'm not. Kanye killed it. Kanye killed it.
Who cares if Kendrick mentions you in a song? Like, honestly, like, who cares? And
I think they
well,
do. I think they do.
Yeah,
But if
there's a reason why we care.
But if I find myself caring about that, I would try to not care because like it doesn't actually matter.
Sean,
Yeah.
if
It
he had a
does.
rhyme,
It does.
If he had a rhyme that said, if he said, I'm paraphrasing, if he said something like, "Yo, I got the peers, I got to check out my man Sean Grant on the Wonder Years," you would be like,
It's alarming. I'm not saying it's not alarming, but I'm even to hear, I would still want to come on here and be like, I don't want that shouldn't change anything. That's going
TMZ
on.
will call you,
Nah, that's
just
a
like
big
how they
deal.
did D1,
That's a big
and
deal.
they'd be like, "Hey man, you want to talk about this?"
I think a benefit.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
came
yeah.
I'm
from
just
it
talking
that-
about in your heart. It shouldn't matter to you.
It shouldn't, but I mean,
And I'm not just talking about Lecrae and D1. I mean, this affects them more than anybody. I'm talking about everyone else.
Right, right.
It shouldn't
No.
matter that much, right?
it does. I mean, because it mattered to me when Lecrae won his Grammy. That mattered. You know what I mean? Like
Do you see
is-
this as like a group success thing?
think
I
it's
do,
big. I think it's probably
because-
bigger than
But
that.
why does Kendrick mention you mean success?
But it doesn't mean success. It means people are paying attention. And now, if he's the biggest artist in hip hop, it means that people who didn't know the name Lecrae, which Lecrae is the only Lecrae we know, now can, know that name. I mean, it's the only Lecrae. And then everybody knows mostly D1 because of the whole situation where he's always going live and everything else. So to me, it's like, what if they start looking for more conscious?
I think that's
what
what
I'm gonna say.
But
You know
I
what I'm
think that's what we think is going to happen.
Yeah.
That's what we want to happen.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna say,
But
if
what Kendrick wants to happen is what Eckhart Tolle is trying to make
That's what I
happen.
was gonna say. So it's two sides of this. From a Christian hip hop artist, when the most popular artist in the world mentions your name in the song, you're going to feel good about
Yeah,
it.
of course.
And then we saw that Lecrae was trending on
Yeah,
Twitter
so I was
and other
about to
places.
look
So
up
like
how
more
it
people,
was it trending,
people were looking up who is Lecrae, who is Kendrick talking about? Because now when he says something, it's gonna hold weight because he's the guy right now. But on the flip side of it is like kind of what you're saying. We talked about the stuff that he believes for the Eckhart Tolle, the Christ consciousness, and things of that nature. My heart's desire is, for one, like we said, more people will say, okay, we see who Lecrae is. Are there any more guys that make this kind of music? And more artists that we know in our space that are super talented will get recognition. Also, I pray that there's also real fruit that's happening with that relationship between Lecrae and Kendrick to the point where he may come out of the Christ consciousness and more into being Christ-like. Nobody knows the heart of man, so I don't want to condemn the man, but we know as of right now some of the things that he said is kind of not of what we say. So I can't say he's a brother in the faith, but I pray and hope and believe that the effect that D and Lecrae are having on him, that eventually he will become one of the brothers.
Pray for Lecrae, pray for D1, because right now it seems like at least they have his ear. So maybe God could work through that relationship and something could change to where, because I mean clearly Eckhart Tolle has his ear. So I would rather Lecrae and D1 have his ear. Eckhart Tolle. Go back to our previous video if you want to know more.